to AstroEnergy with Astrologer Angel Shelley Overton. Hello and welcome back. I know you probably didn't hear me yesterday if you showed up, but I'm here today. So what happened was I called in yesterday and I hit Direct Connect, which is the blog talk radio way of calling in, and I don't think it completely registered that click, and it did say you can start your show, and it started and everything seemed fine, but I don't think it was truly engaged, so it didn't record and nobody could hear me. Today, I'm hoping that everything will be okay and that you can indeed hear me. And if you, I can't even give you any advice. The chat room's open. If forever, I can't even speak now. If there's ever any reason you can't hear me, just go to the chat room and tell me there, and I'll keep up on that. So anyway, my name is Shelley Overton. I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and you are listening to the AstroEnergy Show. If you would like to get a hold of me for a private reading, you can get me at astrologerangel.com or angeliczodiac.com. So, starting the show over, I was going over some things for the show, and I'm going to kind of get into that a little bit because it seems that lately everybody's been going through an awful lot of stuff, and we have had other shows talking about that, but definitely there are astrological energies that are affecting everybody right now, and probably one of the biggest would be Mars at 0 degrees of Aquarius, about to go back into Capricorn. There is also a massive 150-degree inconjunct energy between Pluto and the Sun, Mercury conjunction in Leo, and the North Node. So right now, well, mostly the Sun, Mercury conjunction. But those two things are extremely profound. And I guess even a third thing, which would be Uranus in Taurus retrograding yesterday, which if my show had recorded, you would have known. But I guess if you also listened to last week's show, you would have known that as well. So with all this energy floating around, yesterday I spoke for about half an hour and nobody heard me. And it was just as well because I wasn't really mentally 100% on my game. And so today I'm much clearer. I feel really good. And I just want to go through some of these in a more personal way because I've had a few ideas coming into my mind over what's going on, and definitely living life day to day, seeing what people are doing and what they're going through. Like right now, there is no one that I know who is not going through something, like everywhere. It's all very, very much a major shift and an ideological shift, a psychological shift. We're all really having to go through some no's in our world, meaning we're getting no a lot right now, and it can be very frustrating. And then the final thing, I suppose, I already mentioned a few aspects, but Jupiter and Scorpio, that is also very much affecting us. So Jupiter, I'm going to kind of start there. Jupiter at 14 degrees Scorpio is squaring the Sun-Mercury conjunction in Leo. Many times on this program, I have mentioned Leo squaring a Scorpio planet can bring out the energy of fraud or lying or some type of covert action that is illegal or just plain not right in an ethical sense. So right now, I mean, I've been listening to a lot of what's going on politically, and I read through some of the information on the Manafort, trial. And it just really strikes me as this energy right now. You've got the Sun in Leo and Mercury retrograde in Leo, both at 16 degrees today, so they're conjunct. And so we're seeing this energy of friendship or cohorts connected on some level, and the Jupiter squaring them is a renegade energy. Jupiter wants to be free to do its own thing. It is now direct, and it is in Scorpio, which is about legalities, about trials, about corruption, or the potential for corruption, because it is, and as Scorpio is the energy of going deep, digging deeper, and finding out more about what is normally hidden. So we are seeing a lot of this energy coming out. And I realized, I was explaining this to my aunt in a conversation, how we're feeling like, well, actually, it kind of just extrapolates into other things too. But basically, we were also, my aunt and I were discussing political correctness, which can, be part of anything Mercury. It's about communications. It's about how we're discussing things and our ideas around things. Having a political correctness mindset, she was saying, is like it's way too much. I was talking to another person who's dealing with a lot of work issues, and again, political correctness came up in spades. You watch the news, and you see people saying things that are shocking, but also people backtracking over things that they've already said to try and smooth over that they've said these things. So, talking about political correctness, my aunt was very very much about it's too much in our society. And it just brought to mind the whole idea of Lance Armstrong. I read recently that Lance Armstrong, there was something it was a article, I guess, about him. So he obviously had come out, or had been taken to task, and it had been found out that he was doping all those years, or taking steroids, or whatever you want to call it, during the Tour de France. So he won many Tour de France titles. And he was out recently, and he went to a restaurant. And in the back of the restaurant, I think it was like a patio, they were going to seat him. And he went out there, and they recognized him. And one man yelled a very non-politically correct F you. And then everybody on the patio started chanting that while he was standing there. And he said in this article that he would normally, in the past, he would have, lashed back out at them. But since everything went on and he's had time to be introspective, he actually bought everybody on the patios dinner. So that was a tremendous shift of energy. It is a transformation, and it is very much a south node, north node energy as well. It's like, okay, am I acting out of ego, or am I taking ownership and responsibility of what I'm doing in my life? And he chose the latter. Right now, we have a lot of people pointing fingers, and nobody wants to say, yeah, if this happened to me, I'm the common denominator. So why is this happening? What am I doing that is part of the storyline? And we're never easily able to accept ownership of things that are ugly. And so what we do is we project them out. That's what's going on right now, is a tremendous amount of projection. So we have planets opposite, Mars opposite, well, right now the North Node. In about 2 days, it'll be opposite the Moon. And then we have also Sun and Mercury in an uncomfortable, not quite opposition, which is an inconjunct. And they're saying, hey, this is not only not a direct opposition, it's not a direct anything, it's kind of a off-kilter energy. So it's not a direct square, which that there's a direct conflict. It's not an opposition, also a direct conflict. And it's not a positive aspect like a trine or a sextile, which are cooperative. It's that one area in between at 150 degrees where the two bodies do not understand each other. They do not resonate to the energy of the other. Pluto is in Capricorn, which is authority, ownership, responsibility, organization, authority, government, leaders, bosses. And then Leo, which likes to be in a leadership position, gravitates naturally towards being a boss, is right there also, saying, hey, but I want this ego satisfaction, and I want to say these words, but it's not working. And part of the reason is that we've got this finger of God in the sky going between a sextile with Pluto to Neptune, again, illusions, and Neptune's retrograde, which makes illusions kind of fall away, and we have to see reality for what it is. and both are in conjunct to the Mercury-Sun conjunction. So if you can picture in your mind two planets 60 degrees apart, Pluto and Neptune, and at the opposite side of the zodiac in the sky around the Earth is Mercury and the Sun. So wherever the Sun is, on the other side at 150 degrees in a circle are two other planets fanned out, and they're all having their say. So Neptune is saying, we need to be really clear about these things. What we were deluding ourselves to in the past is not going to work. It's an addiction aspect. And then Leo, where Leo can be addicted is it can be addicted to attention. It can be addicted to luxury and status. And so Leo right now is being taken to task for the addiction to status. Paul Manafort, and also I can't remember the other guy's name, but Gates is his last name. So he's also, I think he was the, you shouldn't quote me, but I think he was the accountant for Manafort, but I'm not totally sure. Anyway, both men are going in the court system being taken to task for what they have done. And Jupiter right now, Jupiter again, Scorpio, legal court battles. Jupiter is expansion and transformation. It is squaring the conjunction of Sun to Mercury. So we're seeing this battle of egos, and also all their dirty laundry is coming out, which is Jupiter and Scorpio pulling out. Now it's 11 tense energy around being taken to task, and because it's a direct hit, Jupiter's at 14 going direct, then within the next 2 degrees, which let's just look it up here, Jupiter coming up, I think it's going to be possibly a couple weeks, I'm not exactly sure. Let's see, we're in August, and so Jupiter gets a direct square to the Sun. Oh, the Sun will actually move forward, so it'll do it quicker. 14. So Thursday, that was yesterday. So it had a direct square yesterday. Because the Sun was at 14. So the Sun and Mercury are the quicker moving bodies in the heavens. So there was a direct hit yesterday, and so that was a big day for court battles and legalities, and also information coming out that we didn't know in the past. So Mercury retrograde in Leo is going to be about creative endeavors and connectedness to people, friendships. It is also about children. We can see news stories about the children, and then Sun is the ego. The inconjunct to Pluto is about something has to change, and definitely the inconjunct to Neptune is we are being laid bare. Really, both Neptune in trine to Jupiter, both in negative aspects to in a square and an inconjunct to the Sun-Mercury conjunction right now, is, hey, this is the dirty laundry that's coming out, and it's very profound. We've got the Sun just past its full moon conjunction with the fated north-south node axis, and then we also have Mars just on the cusp of going back into Capricorn. And that happens, I believe that happens tomorrow. And you would think I would remember that because I just talked about it yesterday to no one. Where is it? Mars. Oh, sorry, Sunday. So Mars goes back into Capricorn at 10:14 p.m. on Sunday Eastern. And so we're going to have a lot of energy coming back in over what's going on with government, what's going on with a career, with the structure of our lives, with father figures versus home and family, or authority figures. It can be women, whoever's in charge, whoever's the moneymaker. And then the opposite side of the chart is the Capricorn energy. The moon right now, today, is in Cancer at 6 degrees. So the moon is directly opposite Saturn and moving into an opposition tomorrow with Pluto. So we have a lot of energy associated with father and mother, men and women. Well, not as much men and women per se, because we don't have the square or opposition of Venus and Mars. It is more paternal versus maternal. So it is fathers and mothers, or women in authority versus men in authority. So the men-women action is actually in positive aspect today. We've got Venus trining Mars, which means that there's a cooperation. And they're both in air signs, so they're very conceptual, meaning they're thinking about love, they're thinking about cooperation, friendships, networking. Where can I connect to other people? How can I make it work better? And Venus just literally is 1 degree past Mars currently, but she is also in conjunct to Uranus. And interestingly, she rules the sign Uranus is in, which is Taurus. So she rules 2 signs, and kind of like Mercury ruling Gemini and Virgo, the 2 signs do not necessarily get along. So with the case of Virgo and Gemini, they square each other, but she rules Venus rules Libra and rules Taurus, and they are in conjunct today, Venus in conjunct to Taurus. So she may be having a lot of ideas that Mars is saying, yeah, let's do that, but he has zero capacity to follow through because Mars is retrograde at the 1st degree of Aquarius. And again, Sunday he goes into Capricorn at the last degree of Capricorn, which he was just in last month. So now he's going to be talking back about government, and he wants to take action towards changing it. So what he's doing, Mars, is actually the precursor to the major shift in action and activity that we are going to see coming up in the next few years. So we have a conjunction of Saturn to Pluto. I want to just look real quick here at 2019, at the end of 2019, and see. Saturn will be, so it's going to be at the very end of next year. Saturn will be at 21 degrees, and let's see what day she's actually an exact. She doesn't quite get exact until 2020, but within 1 degree of an exact conjunction to Pluto, which means the end of next year is going to be a massive shift of energy in the government. It is Capricorn at late degrees. It's in the 3rd decanate, which means getting ready for the shift of the next influx of energy. Saturn is about taking ownership. It's about organizations. It's about labeling things and tradition. Joining up with Pluto, which is saying, yes, I'm in Capricorn now. I'm talking to you about tradition. I'm talking to you about authority. But let's just take a peek under the hood. Let's just see what spiders and ghosts and skeletons in the closet I can come up with. And then Saturn is going to say, yes, I am getting your message, and now it's time to really take ownership, because that's what Saturn forces us to do. If we don't take the ownership, it will put us in a position where we have to see what the lesson is. And the lesson is about owning the things that are covert. Pluto rules Scorpio, rules the covert. So at the same time, let's just take a peek at what Jupiter will be doing next year, or at 2019. So Jupiter goes into Capricorn the beginning of December of 2019 and will be at 6 degrees of Capricorn by the last day of December in 2019. So we're seeing 3 major planets going through Capricorn starting in the end of 2019. And Jupiter's going to be an interesting little energy to this whole dynamic of changing government, because Jupiter will have gone through Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius, again, just doesn't want to settle into anything very deep, just wants to skim the surface. Jupiter's getting done with Scorpio, digging deep, and then he goes into Sagittarius saying, I have done deep. I want to be superficial and have fun. And that's what he's going to do for a year. So come December of 2019, he's going into Capricorn, and now he's having to refresh our memories about what happened in 2007 when Pluto went in. So Pluto is the very big, I know it's been demoted, but I don't consider it anything less than a planet, because he is the most powerful energy in the heavens to make change and shift in our lives. And so when Pluto went into Capricorn in 2007, we teetered on the edge of being able to go forward as a country with a banking system and with a real estate system. When Jupiter, which is faster, closer orbit to Earth, but enormous compared to the dwarf energy, the smallness. So he's not a dwarf planet, but he is very small. Um, it's incredibly different. They're opposite ends of the size scale. And when Jupiter goes into Capricorn, it is going to affect our sense of spiritual connectedness. It is going to be a shift around religions, around spirituality. It is a time where we may see religious leaders just doing whatever they want to do. They're renegade because that's Jupiter energy. They're saying, well, I don't have to take any ownership or responsibility. But guess what? 2020 is 2020 for a reason. It is clear seeing. We have two planets coming together to make this shift, Saturn and Pluto, and Jupiter comes into Capricorn initially making us aware of the self-interest of those in authority, those in religion, those in government. Those in authority are going to be stripped bare with the truth of what's been going on. And I'm guessing that the scandal in the church, the Catholic Church, is going to ramp up like you've never seen by the end of next year into 2020. And the government. I mean, we are basically seeing all of the ills that we have been hiding, that have been festering for decades and maybe even centuries, coming to the surface to be dealt with. And that's really what I was talking about with my friends and family, that it's time to deal with it. Lance Armstrong, we're going to have to face what's coming out. It is, and this is the other thing I told my aunt, it is not just blame you and you blame you. And what the Russians did was split our country because we are in ego. We are, as a collective, in our egos. And egos constantly defend their own. So anyone else with a differing point of view is going to be taken down and called names. And like my aunt said, conquer and divide, or divide and conquer. That's what's been going on. The hackers infiltrate our systems and make us more hyperbolic and shrill at our points of view. And guess what? It's going to be a time of ownership. And I can tell you, come the end of 2019, come 2020, there will be no running from the fact that this is our country, all of us. And every one of us has ownership of where we're at. It's not one side or the other. And I'm hoping, against hope, that that's the impetus to make us come together and recognize that we can be divided and conquered, or we can come together and say, yeah, we're pretty skanky to people. We have a bad history in this world of doing exactly what we're pointing our fingers at others for doing. So that's my little soapbox today. Sorry if it's uncomfortable, but I just needed to get that out. So anyway, having what's going on, definitely having Mars at the beginning of Aquarius is going back over that energy of freedom, of autonomy, of having a say about things and feeling like you can do something to change your life. And then Mars going back into Capricorn. And again, let me just look up real quick for you here how long Mars is going to be in Capricorn for, because it's going to be a significant point. So Mars goes in on the 14th of August. Happy birthday, Dad. And then that'll be interesting. And then is at 29. Oh, wait a minute. That's the wrong planet. Where is it? Oh, is that right? Oh, no. Okay. Before the end of the year. I guess in my mind I've extrapolated it out into the next year, but it's not till the next year, thankfully. It's a very relatively short period of time. So from mid-August to September 12th. So really just a little less than a month. Thank goodness. I was thinking it was going to go for months. So a little less than a month we have to truly wrap up the energy around our authority figures. And quite honestly, having this Capricorn energy, the things that it affects England. It affects the old school. It affects those in authority at religious organizations, educational organizations. Like I just have this picture of, Gandalf in Harry Potter, sorry, and having that energy of like the old wise person with the, graduation cap on or whatever, that it's about elderly, it's about the statesman, the master, the people who have had their time. And I wouldn't be surprised, especially if it's a time where another Supreme Court justice retires, even though I know I've heard Ruth Bader Ginsburg said she's there for a few more years. There could be another retirement coming up in the next month in that vein. And it's also transitioning of those who have been here a long time, because it's Capricorn in the last degrees. It only gets back to 29 or 28 degrees. So it goes direct. Mars goes direct on the 28th of August and then goes right back. So it's only 2 weeks retrograde in Capricorn and then 2 weeks direct in Capricorn until it gets back into Aquarius. So really that range of time is saying goodbye to the old energy, and where we were really feeling that this is over. I want this to be over. It's over. And so anyway, that's kind of what we're coming in for. We have a new moon in Leo at 18 degrees. That's coming in Thursday, I believe, but I'll double check. When is it? Nope. Solar eclipse Saturday the 11th at 18 degrees Leo. And then we are having the sun-moon conjunction at 5:58 a.m., and it is a big new moon for planting new creative ideas and endeavors and engaging with children. It is leaders. It is some new expression and creativity and playfulness. So look for that. It's a super moon, which means it's close to the Earth, and it's going to be big but unseen because it's a new moon. So we're going to have the shadow of the Earth block. No, I take it back. The sun is superseding the moon. That's what it is. So the sun, don't look at the sun at that time because moon's right there. Anyway, and it's a solar eclipse. So the moon is getting between the Earth and the sun. And so the last of the eclipses for this year. And it is also an energy around leaders and authority figures, because the Leo axis with Aquarius, it's the people versus the authority and the leader. And so anyway, let's take a break and take calls. If you'd like to call in, the number is 347-994-3365, and we'll see you in a couple minutes. In these days of stress, running around, responsibilities, we all need a little place to go to make it all better. Is that place sports, football, or maybe you like to garden, paint, or just listen to music? Wherever your happy place is, you can find a shirt or mug to reflect that happy place. At myhappyplace.rocks, we have a variety of lifestyle products, including iPhone cases, pajamas, and pet items, all with beautiful, colorful designs, which help us go to our happy place. Stop by on the web for great gift ideas for others and yourself. myhappyplace.rocks. Lenny Pickett appears courtesy of Random Act Records. Check them out at randomactrecords.com. And welcome back. You are listening to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show on Blog Talk Radio. And my name is Shelley Overton. I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and I am very happy to be here today. If you would like a reading, you can get me at Astrologer Angel or angeliczodiac.com. And don't forget to follow me on Facebook. So let's see if our recording is working today and take our caller. 770, are you there?
Hi, Shelley. Wow, I'm surprised.
Bless.
How are you?
Bless.
I'm here, yes. As
is
you
this
know.
Pam?
Maddie?
Pam? Oh, Maddie,
yes?
I'm sorry. Okay, wonderful. Good deal. Yay. Thank you, Maddie. Thank you. You are my lone caller, because I think everyone else is just like, yeah, I don't know if it's happening today. And I had everybody yesterday, and everyone dropped off one at a time. So, because there was no sound.
Wow. Well,
yeah, it was a shame,
well,
but you're really lucky. Yeah, you've got me. until another caller pops up, you've got me. So I'm just going to give you a really good reading today. What can I do for you?
Well, you mentioned Leo moon and something about the eclipse in Leo,
Yeah.
and I thought, wow, that is my rising sign. And
It is.
Tell me something good.
Tell you something good? Well, Leo is one of my favorite signs of the zodiac, and Leo is extremely generous and creative and playful and loving and loves family. And so a lot of those energies, that's a good time to shine in your family or shine with your friends, just shine in general, because Leo is kind of the sun in the sky shining down on everyone. And so the new moon and being a supermoon is going to really bring about more attention and notoriety to you. And being that it's so close to your Pluto, you tend to have major shifts in your life around children or around creative energies where you may or may not have thought, hey, this is something that I'm interested in doing, and then you take another turn and now you're kind of redefined in your ego and in your sense of self by the shift and change. And it is a big time of psychological shift for you. I would say, yes, you can have difficulty having these planets in the first house, but a new moon is time for planting, time for making something new. So it really is kind of a rebirth of your own sense of self and sense of creativity in your life. And yeah, so I mean, that's really a big part of it. And then the moon itself is home and family. So the moon right next to the sun is basically the big spotlights being shown on your home and family and your place in that particular realm and how you see yourself. And having Pluto in the first house natally is about your personal value. So those are the issues you're going to be feeling coming in to this new moon is, what is my value? Things are changing. I don't know if I'm still the same person, and how is that going to shift and be different for me? So do you feel some of that energy? I mean,
yeah, I feel some of that energy that I'm changing my whole perspective of
right,
who I am and what I'm all about.
right.
I'm thinking taking some classes.
Uh-huh.
I'm an esthetician, you know.
Oh, good.
But
Yeah, perfect for Leo.
been in that
Uh-huh.
field for a while. But I'm thinking about taking some classes so I can do permanent makeup.
Oh, wonderful.
See that
Yeah, that would
happening?
be cool. Oh, yeah. Well, so
That's
Leo rules
with the eyebrows.
Yeah, yeah. Leo rules anything in the head, like usually hair, and so obviously eyebrows or hair, and then the mane, the big
Yeah.
anything aesthetic dealing with like image of the person, especially you having that in the first house. I assume you probably have a lot of hair because it's a hallmark of Leo in the first house is like
I
the
tell you,
mane.
I add a lot of hair.
Oh, very
I
cool.
add a lot of hair. I like big hair.
Yeah, that's good. So,
Mhm.
and that adds to your presence. When you are seen by people, like the bigger the hair, it's like, wow, look at that person, look at that hair. So, yeah, I get it. I mean, I have Venus and Leo in the midheaven, so I totally get like the hair aspect. Like, you really identify to that, and that's part of your personality, part of your persona. So, definitely having something to do with that aesthetically is in alignment with this. Um, if you're thinking of taking the class before Mercury goes direct, just know that it may not go the way you think it's going to go, because that's the hazard of having Mercury retrograde. There again, having Mercury right next to the sun, it's about the ego, it's about the sense of self, and are you getting kudos from people for speaking up and being the person you want to be in a public arena, because that's what Leo likes, the attention. And
Mhm.
so Mercury is saying, hey, you're creative and you're in the spotlight. Because it's retrograde, it can bring up some issues where you may have put your foot in your mouth, and so just be careful. And also
Okay.
because Mercury is about teachers, and specifically if you're thinking of taking a class, it's about teachers. And so there could be a conflict with a teacher, and I would say having it in Leo, it could be like an ego conflict, especially like today, Mercury is on the forward side of the sun, and that means it's out of bounds, but it'll go, the sun will come across it, and then Mercury will be behind the sun, but it's still going away from the sun. So it's a little bit difficult, because I would say the chances of you having a teacher that you may have an ego conflict with are strong if you do it before Mercury goes direct. And Mercury goes
direct?
Yeah, the 19th of August. So it's also right when
the
sun gets...
Well, I probably won't. Oh, that's a couple of weeks from now.
Yeah. It's what's today, the 8th. So it's like 11 days away. Yeah, it's in 11 days.
So that's when it goes direct. Okay.
Yeah, and on the 24th, so 5 days after that, you have Sun in Virgo, and Virgo is also the sign of the teacher, because Mercury rules Virgo. They're both associated with teachers. And so having a teacher that is very good and detail-minded at what they do, you would get that when Mercury goes direct, and then also the Sun goes into Virgo. So after the 24th of August would be a much better time to take that course, or do something about that.
Okay.
And Mars goes direct on the 28th of August. So quite honestly, for what you're talking about, and it's so interesting because every year at this time, it starts becoming about children in school. And so Leo is children and school is Virgo. So that's the time of year you're talking about Leo energy. So the head, the mane, the hair, and then going back to school. So, we are having these retrogrades, but a lot of energy is getting evened out by the beginning of September. So if you can wait till the beginning of September, Venus will be in Libra, which is a very cooperative, loving sign. Mars already goes direct on by September 1st, so it's in Capricorn, so it's wrapping up and taking action towards getting more authority and more awareness of your realm, your career. So that would also be cooperative until Mars goes into Aquarius on the 12th of September. And in that energy, Mars in Aquarius is about entrepreneurship and being your own boss and getting a partner. So I would say the chances that you're going to take the class before Mars goes back into Aquarius are strong, I would say, because it's much more about career and work and education. And then once Mars goes back into Aquarius, it's probably more about, can I get a partner and do my own thing and go on and do the work and the career, as opposed to learning and education. So if you can take it before then.
September would be a better time to take the...
Yeah, I would say even,
about the time when I'll be ready for it.
Yeah.
Anyway, sometime in September. Yes.
Yeah. So if you even, I'll just tell you a couple more dates. September is pretty big about changing energy, one by one, boom, 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 boom. So like I said, Mars will be going into Aquarius on the 12th, but Saturn goes direct on the 6th, and Saturn rules career, and it's also in Capricorn, which means that going direct, now we're able to move forward with our career again. So retrograde times for any planet usually means you're going to redo whatever it is that planet particularly rules. So for Saturn retrograde in Capricorn, it means you're going to reorganize, because anything retrograde brings up So reorganize, rewrite, redo, reevaluate. Anything where you can do it again, that's what you'll be doing during the retrograde. So if you don't want to take the class twice, wait till Mars goes direct, at least, which is the 28th of August. So that way you don't have to, I just didn't get it. Or maybe you take it, but then you don't apply it. And then 2 years from now, you're like, wow, I really do want to do that, but I've forgotten what they did. So now I have to take it again. So you just don't want to have that second taking of anything. So, and also if you have tests with it, you don't want to fail the test and have to retake the test. Yeah.
Exactly. Wow. I like that. I listen to the archives and go back, and I get it, repeat till I program it,
Yeah, exactly.
Subconscious. But do you see, what about love, significant other, something that's going to hold?
Yeah. Something that's going to hold is, it's probably going to happen to you closer to the end of next year. Like I said, when Saturn joins up with Pluto, there's some shifts and changes. And for you, it's going to be associated with energy from the past life. And then in 2020 is when Saturn moves into your house of marriage and partnership. And that Saturn is like, okay, now it's going to be real and structured and, a done deal, kind of like really solid. So you're going to really be looking for that partner when Saturn hits your Aquarius house of marriage and partnership. As far as short-term love, I think that you have some opportunities coming fairly quickly, like in the next week, believe it or not, because Venus right now is in Libra, which is marriage and partnership, and it just went into your house of manifestation, of partnering, or of couples. It's really, the third house is where we see someone come into our lives. When a planet goes through the second, it does rule joining up with people in a couple situation. But when it gets to the third house, the third is like the manifestation of whatever we're going over in the second. And so then it can really come into our lives. So I totally get that you are interested now in someone coming in. The thing with your chart is, though, you have Venus triggering your Chiron right now. So the issues that are coming up for you is how you were wounded in marriage or partnership or a love situation. And so because Chiron's really close to your Neptune and Libra, there's a communication issue. And I would say that some of the things that you've had to deal with are people not being forthright with you in communication and relationships. Like they may have addictions that you didn't realize until you were already involved, or they hid as good as they could from you. And then so that because Neptune is the ruler of addictions and delusions, so that is part of the storyline for you. The other side of it could be, because Neptune's retrograde, is you see through a lot of those behaviors. And so when you're with people, you may call them out for their bad behavior, and they may not like that. So whatever that particular story is for you, because again, Chiron in the third rules communication. It is about expressing that you care about someone. It's about expressing the ideas, what you would like to have in a relationship long term. And it's about having an ideal, because again, Neptune is ideals. Neptune is like, wow, in my perfect world, it would be this and this and this. But Chiron, because the nature of Chiron is it's a wounding, you've got a really difficult connection in your chart to the past, to karma, and being hurt in love and hurt in marriage. And it has to do with also, I would say, having a third party in the relationship, because Libra, and I've said this before, but Libra energy tends to triangulate. So it's me, you, and a third person that balances us. Because if you think of a scale, like the scale, the old traditional scales where there's a bucket on one side and a bucket on the other and the fulcrum in the middle that they balance off of. And because the nature of Libra is to balance, your ideal situation is about a balanced relationship. But the fact that it's a Chiron energy, then you're wounded in that particular balancing act. And because of the triangulation with the third party, you end up attracting and being attracted to people who may not be completely done with an old relationship. Maybe they're married. Maybe they are too connected with mom. There's always a third person hiding somewhere in that dynamic. So part of what you can do is recognize that that is where you've been wounded in your life. And the next few days, it's more pronounced for you because Venus is right on your Chiron. So she's showing you want to be in a relationship, but she's also triggering those ideas of what a relationship has been for you in the past and what is the wounding in relationships. So, and unfortunately, it's never going to be separate for you, but it will be a story you can overcome or accept in some way and help others. But in other words, when you recognize it, you diffuse it a bit. When you see the dynamic of your interaction with a partner, you can acknowledge that this is part of your makeup and this is part of your history, and recognize when someone with those same dynamics comes in, you go, oh, I've seen this before. Well, I don't have to go down that road. And that can help you. On the positive. Is that true?
Yes, that was so true. when I was married. My God, that is so true. How my ex, the third parties was his mother and sisters, most definitely.
Yep.
Most definitely. But since, I want to say, though, since I've been divorced, I haven't been in a relationship.
Oh, how long have you been divorced?
22 years.
Aw, you're probably ready. Well, you're in a little late Saturn cycle, meaning every 7 years Saturn goes in a position that squares where it was before. So, in other words, like right now Saturn's in Capricorn. In 7 years, Saturn will be at Leo, and then it'll be at Libra, and then it'll be Leo. Get your tongue on straight. It'll be in Aries, then it'll be in Cancer, and every 7 years it squares where it was. And so 7, 14, 21, and 28 are years of shift because we have that Saturn connection, and it's about a change of structure. So let's see. So you're saying about 22 years ago, which means Saturn. So Saturn was roughly in Aries at that time, and it had just gone through Pisces, which is the end of your commitment house, and going into your house which is Sagittarius, and it's about travel and excitement and everything like that. So I think probably right after the divorce, there was an initial energy of like, hey, I want to go be myself. I got to be my own person. I want to connect to other people and go travel a lot. And then right now you have Saturn on your Mars, which rules the Aries energy, but it is also in your house of work. And that means that you're really being asked to probably take on more responsibility at work or be the person in charge where you may not necessarily want to. I don't think that, there's a couple things going on with that, and I will circle back around to what you said about dating and everything. But right now with Saturn on your Mars is also where you look for male energy, and that's in your workplace. So taking action towards someone who might interest you of the opposite sex is going to happen in your workplace. And they're a person who's very responsible, loyal, and organized. That's the energy. But the people with Capricorn can also represent someone who's a little controlling, or someone who might have OCD or a need to have everything structured to the point of excess. And so just be aware of that. But meeting someone, Saturn on your Mars, is very much, I would say for the next month, it's about meeting someone at work. And Saturn's retrograde, so I'm guessing there's someone that you may have already met, and he's either someone equal or potentially in authority over you because of the Capricorn connection, or you may, it has to do with the power structure. And since your Mars is there, you're very driven to be a responsible person. And then having Saturn right there, you've been dealing with restriction about taking action a lot. I know it's been really uncomfortable because Saturn's on your Mars and now Mars is retrograde. So for you, it's like nothing's moving forward. What's the problem? And so career and work have been really difficult, I would say, for you right now. It's going to get better. It's getting better, like I said, when Saturn gets direct and when Mars gets back into Aquarius. So right now, it's only like the next month. It's really at peak frustration and stress for you. And part of that for you is the growth factor. Like Saturn's asking you to be the one to do the work, because when Saturn goes into Aquarius, you're probably, I don't know if you have your own business. I would tend to say you work for someone else, given your chart. But there's a partner opportunity for you that will help you express your voice, because Mars in trine to your Neptune in the house of partnership is going to be someone who has great ideas and is driven to move forward and be a partner in a business or a partner in life. And so when Mars gets back, so it's there today, but it's getting out of that house, going back into your work house. And then when he goes direct, like I said, and gets back into Aquarius in September, early September, that's when you're really going to be able to break free. And I think you're going to be more loose with how you look at things and not so rigid and dogmatic about who you're around and what kind of things you want. I think you'll be a little more playful. And definitely as the planets get closer to October and late September, it'll bring in more Libra energy, which is also a partner. So the sun will be going through your house of communications and on your Neptune at that time as well. So I think October is a really good time for you. I do see you're going to shift some energy around the home life, and something's changing for you there. There's a transformative or transitional energy with Jupiter, and that hits, let's see here for you. It'll be the strongest in October. So yeah, October, actually, I would say, given three different things, October is going to be the time when you have much more opportunity to meet someone. Jupiter goes into your house of romance. Jupiter is a planet of fortune and expansion. So you'll be less inclined to be wrapped up in family dynamics and much more inclined to go out and meet people and play and have fun. And so I think October for you is really looking good for meeting someone.
Oh, wow.
And,
great time.
Yeah, and then in Jupiter going forward through Sagittarius next year and into Capricorn is just going to bring you so much opportunity to shift relationships and connectedness to romance and connectedness to children if you have any children. There's a more positive shift. Right now, Vesta's on your Mercury in the house of children. So if you have children, there's some kind of restriction or discord going on, or maybe even a sibling in your own family of origin. There could be do you have a long distance sibling, someone who lives far away right now, a woman? A sister?
No.
Okay.
No.
Sister-in-law or something? Okay.
Here.
What was that?
There is something with my daughter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what that is then, because Mercury is in your natal chart. Mercury's at 24 Sag, and you only have 27 degrees in that house. So it's almost at the very end of children. And so there's a natural playfulness in your nature around children. Like, you're kind of a natural teacher, you're a spiritual guide, you're a sage and a wise woman with children, but you can also be a little impatient and not necessarily want to stick around through projects that you may have started with the kids. It's like, okay, can you just take care of this on your own now? Because I've got other things I have to tend to and I want to be on somewhere else. Like Mercury in Sagittarius naturally just wants to keep things moving and fun and light. And in the late degrees with your chart, it's coming up on your Mars in Capricorn, which is like, I'd really like to play with you. I guess the old song Cats in the Cradle comes up. I got other things I've got to do. I don't have time to play. That's kind of the energy of that aspect, because right over the cusp in your house of work is Mars in Capricorn, which is an extremely responsible person. You're like, no, I'm good with taking charge. I'm good with people. I'm going to take ownership. This is my business life, and I'm very responsible at work, a good work ethic, all that kind of thing. Saturn on your natal Mars right now in work, in its retrograde, is saying, hey, look at where you're putting your energy. It's probably a little frustrating now, but you have to change the rigidness of what you're doing, because I'm telling you, Saturn joining up with Pluto at the end of next year is going to shake you out of your dogma and all the belief systems that you held so tightly to around work. And it's going to say, no, it's time for a change. And that change, which may not be obvious right away, but ultimately will be there in the 2020s, is you're going to be on your own working for yourself. That's where your focus, or you may not even be working. I mean, who knows? Maybe you'll retire then. But the partner is going to be much more about excitement and ideas and communicative and charming. You have Aquarius energy there, and so you attract a charming, very intelligent individual, and that's where you're going to put your energy. When Saturn hits Pluto, it's at the end of your career. You're probably looking to retirement at that time.
Oh, wow, exactly what. Oh, God, that sounds interesting. I can't wait.
Yeah.
2020,
yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2020 into now 2024 is when Pluto goes into Aquarius, which is a major shift also. But Saturn going into Aquarius is really career, and that's when you're like, you know what? I don't have to do this anymore. I've earned my stripes, and I'm moving on to the next phase. I got chills when I'm telling you this, so I know that's what's coming. Is you're going to feel justified in being done and moving on to a new phase. And definitely there's strong potential of bringing in a partner with Saturn in your house of marriage and partnership. It's about owning, wanting to be in a relationship, but also I have to tell you, Aquarius is about having freedom to move about within the marriage structure. And so it is about finding a partner who isn't going to hold you down, which having Capricorn in what would be the subconscious house of your marriage is there's a person, I mean, you could potentially have someone or maybe have had someone who's more like, no, you got to pay attention to me and you got to do this and you got to do that. And they're very dogmatic. And, you know, it's about having their needs met and structurally, and you're restricted. But having Saturn move into that Aquarius house, you're going to be so done with that organized mentality that you're going to be like, I don't even care. I just want to go do and have fun. And we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And we're going to be playful. And you're going to be curious and have new places that you want to go and do things and just like learn. It's like a whole new phase, and you will want to have your own independence within the structure of that marriage. So you're looking for someone who may have an eclectic or unusual way of looking at marriage that is maybe more freedom loving, you know, so that the two of you can work together and really engage in a more free mentality and emotional life and not be so rigid about it. So
I love it. Exactly what I want.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So I love it. So my relationship problem has been because it's karmic from a past life. Wow.
Yes. Yeah, and you also have Saturn in the 12th house in Cancer, which is home and family and the subconscious. And Saturn in the 12th is if you just had the planet Saturn in the 12th, it's Pisces energy, so it's like you have a boundaries issue. And then you have Saturn in the sign of Cancer in that house, which adds family to it, so you don't know how to break free from family and what they want from you. And you also have the sun in Capricorn, so you're a very responsible person in your job, and you're very responsible with Saturn in Cancer in your subconscious. So it's like they have a hold over you. You know, that's like, I'm mom, and that's what you came into this life to explore, the idea of mom and being available and having your boundaries like blended.
Yes.
Yeah. So what happens with Saturn opposing exactly, like Saturn just got to close to an exact opposition to your natal Saturn before, let me see, it was at 6 degrees. So in June of this year, for the whole month of June, Saturn was exactly opposite your natal Saturn. So at that point is probably when you started going, I can't be the wishy-washy, low boundary person I've been in my family anymore. I have to think of myself. And you have to own your authority. Is that when you felt it really strongly?
Well, I don't know I can't recall if it was back in June, but I have been thinking that let me get on with my life and concentrate on me. Yes.
Yeah. So that's exactly what we're all coming into with, like, all this energy with Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn is a major shift in mentality around having to take care of everyone else first for that Capricorn. And that's, I mean, anybody with strong Capricorn in their chart, they're like, I can't do this anymore, because what you do is you take on more than your fair responsibility. And that's why it's no, got to take care of mama now. So that's what you're coming towards. And November is a big time. I would recommend in November, being Thanksgiving, that you let other people take care of Thanksgiving responsibilities, and you just go and enjoy the event. And it's not you. Like, hey, why don't I pass the baton to you this Thanksgiving? You get to take care of it, you know? And you get to just sit there and enjoy the holiday or enjoy the family and not be the one in charge all the time. That's what you're wanting. Your soul wants that. So I say do that. And November, when you have the opposition of Saturn to natal Saturn, is when you really honestly do get like, hey, done with that. You guys, passing the baton. It's all yours. So, yep.
Right. Now, you mentioned Libra earlier in your dialogue. I do know of Libra. I do know of a Libra person that seems like may have a little interest. Well, it's been going on for a while. But I don't know. His birthday is September the 24th, 1970.
Okay. So
I don't
he's
know the
got.
time. I don't know the time.
It's okay. I mean, I don't have much time anymore. The show's technically over, but I will tell you that if he's been in recently, I noticed that there's a lot of energy of people coming in that are now the person who's triggering the next phase of our romantic lives. So this is a person that he can either be the transitionary person or he can be the D1, but especially with Libra, because there's been so much energy in Libra in the last couple of years with Jupiter going through Libra a year ago, that it's like all the hard work and the psychological shift from that energy has kind of happened. And now with Venus going into that sign, and literally Venus is on his sun today. So his Venus is really being triggered with that energy of love and finding a person. So he could very well be somebody who's coming in for you. So, and having that sun right there on your Chiron, I've noticed a lot of people are drawing in a partner who is, especially with where Neptune in Pisces right now, and your Saturn answers to Neptune. That's also in the house of commitment. And you have a Venus in Pisces. So you have a really strong connection to the Pisces energy and also like idealized love. So someone coming in now would be representative of a person who's giving you that final connection to shifting the energy around love from being bad to good. So, yeah, I mean, he definitely could be that person for you who's here to show you a true loving relationship.
Yeah, I think he is good for me. Even though despite the age difference, I just feel like he's good for me.
Yeah. Well, go with what feels right. You have Saturn in the 12th house. I know that you are very concerned about money and bringing in income, but you also have a very strong intuitive side. And the more you listen to your inner voice, especially with the moon in Scorpio, the better off you're going to be.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Follow your inner wisdom. Good.
Yeah, I go within and listen, yes.
Good.
And when it comes to money, as you know, I don't know, for some reason, I do. I have a grand trine in my chart. I know you see that. And for some reason, money has always just flowed kind of easy.
It's flowed easy, you said?
Easy. It
That's
just
good.
flows.
Awesome.
It just flows.
That's awesome.
I don't know if that has to do with, because years ago I was told that, you have a grand trine in your chart, and it's a water trine. And
water is money.
Water is money?
Yeah. Water is money and love.
Oh, but money and love. I didn't know water was money and love.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. So especially like if you look into feng shui, money and love are associated with that, with water.
Oh,
so you have fountains and things like that.
Have a fountain, water.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, and I was always told to live by water.
Yeah, definitely you would be the person who enjoys that. Yeah.
So water is, yes, I do get revelations when I'm near the water.
That's awesome.
Water is love and money. The money flows easy, but the love, so that has,
Well, that's the Chiron, and it can have, money can have a connection to your love situations too. There could be, Libra is the sign of like the social worker, and historically air signs have issues with money because they are more into ideas and not as much into the material world. Virgo and Capricorn and Taurus, the earth signs, are the ones that are about money, whereas air signs tend to be about just concepts and not as good with the tangibles. So, but Neptune in Libra means that there's definitely a big heart, and you can give away a lot of money to people, especially with a Leo rising, because there's generosity with Leo. So, you definitely like a nice meal out, and we'll pay for someone else's meal just to have the time one-on-one. So I know I enjoy that. But, Maddie, I've got to wrap up the show.
Thank you, Shelley.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh,
Thank
wow.
you.
I did get a good reading. I'm going to go back and listen to our programming and my subconscious. Thank you. Has been
You're
very
welcome.
enlightening. Yes.
My pleasure, and good luck to you. And
Great.
take the class
Thank
next
you.
month, and you'll be great. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye. All right, that's the end of the show. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next week. Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com, with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at ironwoodrain.com.